class, it's me, Teacher Mel. So we are done in our quarter one. So today we're going to start in quarter two, week number one. So let me show you how to fill out this WHLP. Take note, you have to answer directly in your WHLP unless it is stated that you have to use another sheet of paper or notebook. Okay? So first, don't forget to write my name. I am your English teacher. So write here Melissa L. Lopez. And then it is stated here that you have to write your full name, grade, and section. So let me read to you the Tagalog version. Tiyakin na nakasulat ang buong pangalan, grade at section sa bawat pahina na makikita sa ilalim na bahagi ng inyong WHLP. Gayon din sa mga karagdagang papel o bond paper. So sometimes class, it is not expected that your outputs are separated from one another. For this reason, I encourage you to write your name, grade, and section on each page of this WHLP, which you can find at the bottom. Okay, sa ilalim daw, here. So you're going to write your last name, first name, grade, and section. Okay? So all pages. So page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4, page 5, and page 6. Okay? Now let's go to your task. So the lesson is compare and contrast using compare transition signal. I know that you are already familiar with this. So here, motivation task. What you have to do, you have to study the sentences below. Then identify the word that is used to compare the two ideas. So look at number 1. You're going to read number 1 and number 2. So number 1, John loves reading a book. Likewise, Peter spends time reading Wattpad stories. So as you can see, the two clauses here is the first one, John loves reading a book. And the second one, Peter spends time reading Wattpad stories. So they are compared using the word likewise. Therefore, the compare transition signal in number 1 is likewise. Okay? Number 2. My sister has to attend her online class via Google Meet. Similarly, her little brother needs to be present in his synchronous class via Zoom. So the two clauses here are, first, my sister has to attend her online class via Google Meet. And the next one, her little brother needs to be present in his synchronous class via Zoom. So they are compared using the word similarly. Okay. So additional lecture, you cannot find this one in your module. So you just study here. So the words likewise and similarly are called compare transitional signals that are used to show a similar relationship between two ideas. So there are other common compare transition words include equally, in the same way. Actually, there are a lot of compare transitional signals, but here you just have to study the words likewise, similarly, equally, and in the same way. Now, to set up an alike comparison, you can begin talking about the first object or person you wish to compare. Okay, for example, you compare the characteristic of the two heroes in the past. You could start by writing, Jose Rizal is the Philippine national hero who showed his braveness through writing. Then begin the next sentence with a compare transition to connect Jose Rizal and Andres Bonifacio. So you can use equally. So here, equally, Andres Bonifacio is a courageous hero who fights for our country's freedom using his strength. Now, the word equally indicates that the two compared terms are alike. When you say alike, they are the same. They have similarity. Now, below is another example of showing similar relationship between two kinds of exercises. For example, jumping jacks is a simple exercise that you can do in the comfort of your own room. In the same way, planking can also be done at home. The phrase "in the same way" signifies that the two compared exercises can be done at home. Note, remember that likewise, similarly, equally, and in the same way are all compare transition signals used to show a similar relationship between two ideas. Okay? Now let us practice. Here directions, you have to complete the following sentences by supplying the appropriate transition signals that are used to compare two things or ideas. So you're going to choose your answer in the word pool and write it on the space provided. So you're going to write your answer here. No need a sheet of paper. So number one, my sister can sing beautifully. Blank, my brother has wonderful voice. Chicken adobo is delicious. Blank, pork sinigang is tasty. Mark gets 90 in English. Blank, he gets 90 in Filipino. Okay. So now let us proceed for your task in day 2. For day 2 task, November 16. So this time, the same topic, compare and contrast. This time, you're going to use contrast transition signal. So here you're going to study the sentences below, then identify the word that is used to contrast the two ideas. Number one, cloth masks are worn by the public, unlike the KN95 masks, which are only used by medical and frontline workers. Now, the word unlike is used to contrast the face mask worn by the people depending on their profession. Number two, people who play basketball are generally quite tall. In contrast, gymnasts are typically short. In contrast is employed to differentiate the heights of people who play basketball and do gymnastics. Okay? So, additional lecture, you cannot find it in your module. So, please study this one. The words unlike and in contrast are called contrast transition signals. They are used to contrast or differentiate the two opposite things or ideas. Now, below are the other contrast transition signals that you can use. Nevertheless, however, while. You use contrast words in the same way you use compare words. The difference is that these words link two independent clauses together to show how things differ. Now, contrast transition signals. So here we have nevertheless. For example, Montalban or Rodriguez is considered as the mountainous town in Rizal. People love to do hiking. Nevertheless, they are limited to hike 2 mountains per day. Trilogy is prohibited. Next, however, the festival was to be held today. However, it was cancelled due to the rainy weather. Next, using while in the sentence. Students in MDL do their tasks on paper and in their WHLP, while ODL students answer their activities via Google Form. So this time, let us practice. So please complete the sentences below by supplying the appropriate transition signals that are used to contrast two different things or ideas. Choose your answer in the word pool and write it on the space provided. So here you can choose here nevertheless, while, equally, however. Then please write them on the space provided. Number 1. Ella is helping her little brother. Blank. Carol is cleaning the house. Number 2. Annie is excited to visit her grandparents who live in Chihuahua. Blank. Her brother dislikes to leave the house because he will be bored staying in a place that has no internet. Okay, so this time, let us go to day 3. Date November 17. So for day 3, this time we're going to have the lesson Making Connections. So your pre-reading task, you have to arrive at the meaning of the underlined words through context clues. Now choose the letter of the correct answer on this and then write them on the spaces provided before the numbers. Okay? Number 1. I don't want to hear the moaning of a sick person who has cancer. Moaning means, so you have to choose your answer here and then write on the space provided. Number 2. I went to the bayside and saw that the waves were high and covered with foam. Foam means, choose the letter of the correct answer and write it here. Number 3. Enthusiastic students devote their boundless effort to finish their learning tasks. Boundless means, choose the letter of the correct answer and write on the space provided. Number 4. I could still see the face of the angel in the twilight. I hoped the surroundings would be bright so that I could see his appearance clearly. Twilight means, please choose your answer here and then write the letter of the correct answer here. Then number 5. After hours of waiting, the boat arrived and he immediately embarked. Embarked means, so please choose your answer here and write your answer here. Now, this time, you have to go to page 6. So, reading the text. So, you can see and meet the words moaning, foam, boundless, twilight, and embarked in the poem entitled Crossing the Bar by Alfred Lord Tennyson that you have to read on page 6. So, please read this one, page 6. Okay. So here making connections, that's the lesson, weeks 1 to 4, introduction. So you're going to read this poem. Okay. Actually, I can read this one for you. Okay. Crossing the Bar by Alfred Lord Tennyson. Sunset and evening star, and one clear call for me, and may there be no moaning of the bar when I put out to sea. But such a tide as moving seems asleep, too full for sound and foam, when that which drew from out the boundless deep turns again home. Twilight and evening bell, and after that the dark, and may there be no sadness of farewell when I embark. For though from out are born of time and place, the flood may bear me far. I hope to see my pilot face to face when I have crossed the bar. Okay. Now, after reading the poem Crossing the Bar, so you have to do the post-reading test, which you can find the same on page 6. So you have to answer the questions there, and you can do it in your English notebook. Then if you don't have your English notebook, you can use any sheets of paper. Okay, so you have to go back here and then answer these 6 questions. Now, first question, what do sunset and evening stars symbolize? Number 2, what does turns again home in stanza 2 mean? So turns again home in stanza 2. So you're going to go back here